Good morning to you all. Advocate Siminya.
Good morning, Chair, and to the commissioners as well. We have today Advocate Matske to give us her account of the business of the commission.
Yes. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair.
Morning, Ms. Rangat.
Yes.
Will you be leading the evidence of Advocate Matske?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Advocate Matske, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Will you give your evidence under oath or affirmation?
Under oath.
Yes. Do you swear that the evidence you will give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Ms. Rangata.
Thank you, morning, Chair and the commissioners. Good morning, Advocate Matske,
Morning.
and welcome. Thank you for coming today. Advocate Matske, would you want to state your name and your background under the your profession, and a little bit of your personal, not too much, but your professional background?
Thank you, Council. Thank you, Commissioners, Chairperson and Commissioner. I'll just wait. My name is Yetrisha Matske. I've been a prosecutor for 40 years. I left the NPA service in January 2025. I started off as a judge's clerk, as we were called those years. And in 1986, I was appointed as a public prosecutor. I started off in the district courts for a short while in Randburg, but for most of my time at in the Department of Justice that time, I was at the Germiston Magistrates and Regional Courts. I also served as the senior state advocate, senior public prosecutor in Germiston for a while, and then I was transferred to the Johannesburg Attorney General's office at that stage, first for a year in the fraud unit, and then I was appointed as a state advocate, later a senior state advocate. Excuse me, just want to drink a little bit of water.
Okay.
I was then transferred to the national office in Pretoria, which was then newly formed under the leadership of Mr. Nuka. And I was then promoted to a deputy director in 2000. I stayed a deputy director until the 1st of April 2022, when I was appointed as a special director of public prosecutions for the general stream and tax matters. And later on, I was also overseeing and working with Advocate Singh in the TRC matters in the last part of my career there.
Thank you very much. And you have made a statement or an affidavit to this commission.
That's correct.
Chair, if you go to page 2303, there's an affidavit of Advocate Yetrisha Matske. Did I pronounce your name right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And if you turn to page 2308 of the same affidavit, there's a signature there. Is that your signature?
That is correct.
Would you then confirm that this is your affidavit and the contents thereof are true and correct?
I confirm so.
Thank you. You have already spoken to paragraph 4 of your affidavit, which you have outlined your background and your employment history. Am I correct that you are now on retirement?
Yes.
So we have taken you away from your comfortable days? Yes. When did you retire?
In January 2025, at the end of January, I left the NPA.
All right. I'm going to then turn to page 2303 of your affidavit. You have pointed out some typographical mistakes or errors in paragraph 2. Do you want to correct that into the record?
Thank you very much, Council. Chairperson.
Ms. Rangata,
Advocate Ranaka.
thank you.
Paragraph 2 should actually read, the facts contained, not contacted, in this affidavit, so remove are within my personal knowledge unless stated otherwise, both true and correct. I apologize for the typing
Thank
error.
you. Thank you. Thank you for that. I will then take you to paragraph 3 of your affidavit. You speak to the reason why you are before this commission. I would like you to read that into the record. Paragraph 3 on page 2303.
Thank you. The purpose of my affidavit is to respond to the request made by the Commission of Inquiry into allegations regarding efforts or attempts to stop the investigations or prosecution of Truth and Reconciliation Commission cases. In inverted commas, the Commission, in its mandate under the terms of reference, I am requested to respond to the evidence presented to the Commission by Advocate N. Jiba on 1 April 2026 and provide any further information relating to my involvement and knowledge in respect of the TRC cases.
Thank you very much. As a result of being requested by the Commission to deal with this very matter and deal with the issues raised by Advocate Jiba under her examination, you were requested by the Commission to consult with the evidence leaders, and which you did. And out of that consultation, you have prepared your draft statement. The evidence leaders considered it, and you were happy with it, and hence we are here today with your signed affidavit.
That is
Correct?
correct.
All right. I will then go to paragraph 6 of your statement, where you deal with the component or the department where you are deployed. Can you just read that into the record?
My main portfolio and responsibilities at the National Prosecuting Authority was that of coordination of the representations and complaints component.
All right. If one was to ask you what this component or this unit was all about, can you, in short, just explain to the Commission or to the Chairperson what the component was all about? What was the function of this unit?
The representations and complaints component came into being in 1998-1999 when Mr. Nguka was appointed as the first national director, and the reason being that the National Prosecuting Authority Act made provision for a review mechanism for the national director. So that is where it started many years ago, under the leadership of various deputy nationals. When we started that stage, it was Dr. De Oliveira, and later on, whoever was in charge of the National Prosecuting Service, the NPS, would then coordinate or oversee the representations and complaints component. So the representations and complaints at the national office would come to the play once the mechanism in the provinces and regions has been, once a complainant or a aggrieved party has made representations to either the senior public prosecutor, then it would go to the director of public prosecutions, and then once the director of public prosecutions has made a decision which is not, which a party wants to be reviewed, then representations would be made to the national office. And this component was the mechanism. Excuse me.
Okay. You are comfortable?
Yes.
Okay.
This was the mechanism where the representations would be received. There's a system, it would be registered, a file would be opened, allocated to responsible prosecutors or advocates in that component, and then it will be evaluated, and the reports and the case dockets or copies of the case dockets would be requested from the director, and then it would again be processed in the office to go to either the national director through the deputy national director, or the deputy national director who would be designated to review certain matters by the national director.
Okay. And what will be your role in that unit?
My role as coordinator over the years was to see to it that the system is working, that there is proper allocation of the matters, that the reports are obtained, that the reports are prepared in a proper format, and that it is then submitted to either the deputy national or the national director for the final review decision. And all the correspondence that went with that, some of that was delegated to me, the normal correspondence to request and to do the initial work, and then the final decision and signature was that of the deputy national and the national director.
All right. Thank you very much. In that unit, when you receive, if I understand your evidence, the cases will come to your office in a form of complaints.
So, complaints were submitted, or fully fledged representations.
All right.
It was called complaints and representations. Sometimes parties would just complain about no progress in matters, or not receiving status, not receiving correspondence, and sometimes it would be the decision of the DPP, and that is, if it was about the review decision, then we would call it representations, and others would be complaints, but it's still always a file is opened, letters are written, and the DPP is then asked to look into the matter and to also inform the national office what the progress was.
All right. And those matters that are referred to your office will be all sorts of matters, including priority crimes.
The representations office was the conduit for all the units. So be it the specialized commercial crime, the organized crime, the crimes litigation unit, And then the bigger, the majority of the matters refer to the matters that was dealt with in the provinces by the prosecutors or the DPPs. So everything had to come through this office so that one could track it on a system. We had an electronic system, files would be opened. The process would then be that once it was received, if it was a review decision,
I think you've dealt with
thank
that.
you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. Chair, this witness will address in the main 3 matters. The first matter will be the answer to the issues that were raised by Advocate Jiba, which she will start with, and then we will then deal with her role in specific in the representations and complaints unit with a specific matter that she will deal with, which is the matter of Els and Sons. And lastly, she will then address her involvement in the TRC unit where she is working together with Advocate Singh. That evidence is already before this commission. She'll just give an overview of her direct involvement and what it entails her in that department towards the end of her career in the NPA.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. We will then move to your affidavit on paragraph 7, which appears on page 2305. You are addressing the main reason why you deposed to this affidavit, and I will request you to read, for context and just for completeness sake, to read paragraph 7 and the contents of the email that is contained until the end of that page. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson and Commissioners. Paragraph 7. In her evidence, Advocate Jiba stated that her personal assistant, Ms. Fanani Malova, sent an email to Advocate Pretorius, then Acting Special Director of the Priority Crimes Litigation Unit, PCLU, on 22 October 2018, and that I was amongst those copied in the said email. The email reads as follows. Read that on as follows. Dear Dr. Pretorius, by direction of Advocate Jiba, following the National Operations Management meeting last week, which you unfortunately could not attend, understandably so, a decision was taken that you should forward a list of cases, matters together with the cases themselves, emanating from the TRC to my office, in order to see and evaluate which matters should be referred to the DPP officers. The delay in dealing with these matters was highlighted as something which is unacceptable. Seeing that the suspects are getting old, witnesses also getting old, which might result in victims not getting justice at all. The target date for the evaluation of these matters is 14 November 2018. Advocate Jiba have already requested Advocate Matske and her team to run with the process.
Thank you. Oh yes, it proceeds to 2306. You can complete.
It is therefore requested that this be submitted by Wednesday, 24 October 2018 latest. You can delegate any of your prosecutors to collate the dockets. Close the quote.
Thank you, thank you. You have now given context of why you are here, and I note on the last paragraph of this page 2305 that there's a special mention that you have been requested to run with the process.
Yeah.
Before you tell the chairperson and the commissioners how you ran with that process, can you explain why would you at that time have been the person that has been requested to specifically to deal with this request?
I actually, I don't know, and I think that is then why I mentioned in paragraph 8 that it was my first time of being informed of the task at hand, and then I responded to Advocate Jiba.
Are you reading paragraph 8?
Can I read that?
Yes, you can do that. It's page 2306. You can proceed.
Thank you, Commissioner. This email was the first time of me being informed of the task at hand. Thus, I henceforth, in response, wrote an email to Advocate Jiba on the same day at 3:45 p.m., requesting a meeting with her so as to understand what the referral of the matters to the Directors of Public Prosecutions entail, as well as the process to be followed by the representations and complaints component. There should be a T. I also proposed that we await the submission by the PCLU and then take it from there. The meeting never materialized.
Yes. You can proceed and read paragraph 9 and 10.
I should mention that the PCLU was a separate unit from the representations and complaints component where I worked. And I have up until that time never dealt with TRC matters. On or about 23 October 2018, I went to the PCLU offices to discuss a list of the TRC cases. I met with Advocate S. Bukau, Senior State Advocate, and a member of the PCLU. Paragraph 10.
Yes.
The deadline of the 2 days for the PCLU to deliver a list was too short and caused me to investigate the feasibility thereof. I also learned that time that Advocate Pretorius was very ill and evidently not in a position to assist with a consolidated list.
Yes, you can stop there for the moment. You have explained that you had no knowledge why you would have been the one that was recommended to run with the process. And you request for a meeting. Was the meeting also going to address the reasons why you were specifically requested to be running with the process, or what was the reason mainly?
I think the reason or the request for the meeting was to understand, because I wasn't in the meeting that was held with the Directors of Public Prosecutions. So just to understand the background and what were we supposed to do when we gathered everything and then send it to the provinces. So I needed some direction from my supervisor just to understand exactly what this entails and yes, what is the process that we need to follow, the procedure, and to just get some background. I was not willing to do it because I know over the years in the representations and complaints that you were asked to do other work as well, so that was not the issue. But the issue is work from another component to do it properly, and what is expected, how do we do it, what should we do, what should go.
Okay.
So that was the
Thank you.
reason. Thank you, ma'am.
Did you at any stage receive any such list?
I never received a comprehensive, detailed list or report. But I was obviously concerned to start to get the work done, and that is why I went to Advocate Bukau, or up to the PCLU, and I found Advocate Bukau there. And then I engaged with her. That is then, I think, what I mentioned. In paragraph
Yes.
13.
You can
Yeah.
go to paragraph 11. Do you want to read that into the record?
Thank you. It appeared that there were not only various lists kept by the respective advocates involved in the TRC matters at that stage, but that the numerous case files or documents were stored in various PCLU offices as well as the NPA Document Center. I was also informed that a proper audit of all the matters was required and that it was not only to simply compile a list of matters. Paragraph 12.
I just want to just do a follow-up on paragraph 11.
Okay.
You seem to mention that there were quite a number of lists. What was your observation when you went to the PCLU offices? Were you shown anything by Advocate Bukau?
Yes.
Can you explain to the commissioners?
Okay. So I'm working from my recollection, which is not always the best. But what I do remember, when I went up, Advocate Bukau had informed me that she worked on some of the matters, a couple of the matters, and she then also later on sent me her list or the documents, or copies of documents that I could start working. But if I remember correctly, she was the only one in that component, that floor, and she actually showed me, she opened up cupboards, so there were documents in the cupboards, and there were boxes with documents. So with all due respect, it was not as if I went in and saw a proper system, if I may say so, of documents.
Are you saying documents or dockets?
There were documents. Did I say case files? My recollection is that they were documents.
Okay.
So I won't say that I saw a docket. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Okay.
All right. And you found boxes of files as you referred to it?
Yes, they were. So it was in the cupboards. There was an office or two with boxes, which it was said those are the matters.
Yes.
Yes.
When you say matters, you're talking about TRC
Yes,
matters?
well, that was within my conversation with Advocate Bukau. In her office, she also had documents, and as I say, if I remember correctly, she did then send me some documents. Maybe to the commissioners at this stage, if I can just say that I have requested access to my emails and laptop, but I've not received any feedback. And Advocate Bukau was the only one that, from her own, she's also not with the NPA anymore, sent me some information to refresh my memory. So I have raised it with the evidence leaders. So I am talking that I just wanted to say that. I'm trying to remember as
Yes.
best I can.
No, thank you for mentioning that. I am aware that you have
Yes.
made some requests for documents, and as we have discussed, we will then obtain a proper list from you of the documents that you need so we can make formal requests to the NPA. On paragraph 12 of your affidavit, you respond to the submission or to the evidence of Advocate Jiba that you have, or you were indeed finished with a report that you were supposed to receive and coordinate
Yeah.
for her attention.
Yes.
And what do you say about that?
So I think when I sent Advocate Jiba the WhatsApp that I referred to in paragraph 13, she thought that I have received the report, but I didn't receive the report.
So you say you did not receive
No,
the
I
report
never
as it was made out that you had received the reports?
Yeah, no, I think she just made an assumption because of my wording
Okay.
in my WhatsApp.
Okay, let's go through paragraph 13 so we can understand what you're talking about.
Okay.
You can read it into the record.
Thank you. I only received copies of documents or case files in two matters from Advocate Bukau, and might have received summaries of a couple of matters as I endeavoured to commence with some kind of a schedule as mentioned in the WhatsApp dated 25 October 2018. I confirm that on 25 October 2018, I apologize again for the spelling mistake.
Where is the spelling? Do you want to?
It says 2028.
Yes.
2018.
Should be 2018.
18.
Thank you.
I send a WhatsApp message to Advocate Jiba asking to meet me. I can just mention at this stage, Advocate Jiba was then, in that short period, 2-3 days, she was suspended. She wasn't at work. So I asked her to meet. I further stated in the message that I wanted to brief her on the TRC cases and that I have started with a schedule. I also mentioned that I'm very concerned that the MPA failed dismally. The meeting did not take place. I never received a comprehensive consolidated list or report. I also never received police case dockets in the matters. In my WhatsApp,
Yes, I'll take the commissioners. There's a subfolder immediately after the affidavit of Advocate Matzke. It's a transcript of Advocate Jiba of the 1st of April 2026 on page 36. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4. On line 4, Advocate Jiba states what is in the message. Are you there? Okay, you can read it into the record.
thank you very much. Dear Advocate Jiba, I'm not sure, it says thinking coffee. I think it was supposed to read thinking of you. You will let us know when we can take you for coffee, if it is allowed. At that stage she was not at work. I wanted to brief you rather TRC matters. I have started with a schedule, and then I'm very concerned that the MPA has failed dismally. So this was, we were without our supervisor from one day to the next day.
Let's take it from this stage. You receive the email directing you as to the process that needs to unfold.
Yes.
That is on the, what is the date? 22nd of October.
Yes,
3 days later, you send a message to Advocate Jiba,
Yes.
and you want to brief her on the progress that you have made thus far.
yes.
And within that 3 days, she was already out of her job.
Yes.
How did you learn that she was no longer with the NPA or in her position?
I cannot recall exactly, but whether it was an official notification on our emails or whether we just heard, if I may say, in the grapevine that Advocate Jiba is presently not there. I can't remember exactly, but we knew then that she wasn't at work anymore.
And you say that the message that you sent it being aware that she is no longer responsible for those files that she had requested, but you still wanted to take her through what you have collected, and you wanted to share with her your concern.
Yes, because at that stage, if I did it like this, it was because we were still waiting for a new supervisor.
And as you say, the meeting never happened. She never responded to
Unfortunately
you.
not. Understandably so.
Before I step to the next aspect that we need to deal with, I think you can just explain to the commissioners as to exactly what the word decimally meant, or what were you trying to communicate when you say NPA failed decimally? If you were to unpack it, what would you say?
So when I said that, because when you start with the schedule and the cases, the little that I had, and most probably the cases that were handed over to the NPA 10, 15 years ago, and then you see that little progress was made, maybe in the investigations or a decision made. So that is what caused me as a prosecutor to say, well, we can't have dockets or cases for 10, 15, how many years in our possession, and there was no outcome or progress. This was just my observation from outside of the TRC at that stage. But as I said, I unfortunately don't have the schedule so that I can clarify it better. But that was just my observation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We will then move to the second aspect that I'll invite you to address. You have stated that in your position as the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, you were appointed, just remind this commission when you were appointed or promoted to that position.
As Special Director?
As the Deputy DDPP.
Oh, as Deputy DDPP.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. I just have to... so I was promoted in 2000.
Yes.
I became a Deputy Director.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. And in that position, you were still in the unit called Representations and Complaints component.
That is correct.
During that time, there was a judgment that was delivered by Judge Motley. Commissioners, the extract of that judgment is on another folder, just after the transcript of Advocate Jiba. There is the first part of the judgment on page 2309 big A. It's a judgment on the reopened inquest into the death of Ahmed Esop Timo. You see
Yes,
that?
we are on the same page.
Thank you. If we go to page 2319 big A, on paragraph 332 of that judgment. Are you there?
I am not there, ma'am. Commissioner, I'm sorry.
Just after the transcript, there is the next folder is the judgment.
Oh, there.
And you page through that, almost at the end of that document, page 2319 big A.
2, 3, is it?
There's paragraph, you go to paragraph 332 on that document.
2, 3. Oh, let me see.
Can someone help?
Thank you. I'm a little bit lost. I apologize.
It's the same file.
This one.
Yes.
Oh. Oh, there. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. On the council.
Thank you very much. It's page 2319 big A, paragraph 332. I want you to read 332 and 333 into the record. It is the extract paragraph 332 and 333 to the judgment by Judge Motley.
Thank you.
Yes.
331 reads.
332.
332 reads, apologies. Else should be investigated for misleading the court that he only knows of allegations of assault on detainees from the media. The police file records reflect that he was in attendance as one of the interrogators when Nike was subjected to the helicopter method of torture for which he lost the use of his hands. Paragraph 333. Sons should also be investigated for testifying under oath that he heard of detainees' assault from the media. There are 5 witnesses who filed affidavits to dispute his statement.
Thank you. In your capacity in this office, representations and complaints component, were you aware of this matter? and the judgment that was made with the two Ls and Sons being the judgment saying that they need to be investigated. Did you become aware of this matter?
I only became aware of it when the matter was, when a complaint was received from Mr. Kaiji with regard to the lack of progress.
And who is Mr. Kaji?
Mr. Kaji was a family member that wrote an email.
Family member of Mr. Timo.
That's correct.
Yes.
And that is when the representations and complaints component became aware of it, that because of his complaint, and the file was opened.
And how did it come to your department, and how did you deal with the matter, with that judgment? How was it implemented?
The process, if I can just mention,
Yes.
once the order was made, a case docket was opened at Pretoria Central CAS Police Station, and that was in October 2017. Two case dockets were opened according to the record. So the police dockets were opened, and then generally what happens is once the case docket is opened, it is investigated by an investigating officer, and then it must be taken to either the senior public prosecutor or the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. I unfortunately don't have access, so I don't know whether it was brought directly to the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, but at the stage when Mr. Kaiji made or complaint, then a letter was written to the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. At that stage, there was an acting director, Advocate George Paloy, to request status of certain matters that Mr. Kaiji was complaining or brought to the attention of the National Office. So that is how our file was opened, and that is then when we started to get involved.
Okay, you received the complaint from your office. How did you deal with the complaint, or how was it handled, that particular complaint?
So in the file, the complaint, a letter will be written to the office of the Director of
If I may,
Public
just to interrupt, what was the complaint that you received?
According to the statement of Mr. Veendemans,
Okay, Chair, there is a separate file that has been provided. It's the file that contained the statement of Advocate Singh, and on page 449, there is an extra I, which is the affidavit of Mr. Leon Veendemans, who is in the senior public prosecutor, who was mandated to prepare a timeline, in particular on this matter of Els and Sons, and that's where she's making reference to. Yes. You can proceed.
thank you. So when the complaint was received, a letter was written to the acting DPP.
And who wrote that letter? Was
It
it
was
yourself?
most probably the advocate. Thank you, commissioners. If I can just say that in the representations and complaints component, there were a number of senior state advocates, and that reported to me as the deputy director. So once a file is opened, it's allocated. So the letter writing that would have been done by the senior that was allocated the file. And then I don't know whether I signed the letter or whether it was PP'd by the senior, but the request that went to the acting DPP was please provide a status report on the matters that was complained about. And Mr. KG was then also advised accordingly. That was
So you submit the letter together with the representations to the DPP for his consideration.
well, at this stage, it was a complaint
It was
on
just
the
a complaint,
status.
yes.
And then after that, according to the timeline, paragraph 7, the acting DPP then responded in a letter dated 21 May 2020 with his decision on this specific matter.
And what was the decision?
Well, the decision was not to prosecute.
Right?
Not to prosecute?
Yes.
Yes. And that is then usually where the representations will then kick in, because when a party is aggrieved about the decision of the DPP, then representations can be made to the National Office to
Yes,
request.
I think it may help if you can just read that paragraph 7 because it has dates as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Paragraph 7. The acting DPP responded in a letter dated 21 May 2020 with his decision. This office advised the acting DPP on 28 May 2020 that we will await Mr. KG's representations.
Thank you. And did you receive the representations?
The next paragraph,
Yes.
8, says representations were received on 21 June 2020 from Weber Wenzel Attorneys on behalf of, my page is not clear,
Mr. Kaji?
On behalf
Oh,
of
KG.
Mr. Imtiaz Ahmed Kaji
Kaji, thank you.
and the
Yes.
Foundation for Human Rights in respect of criminal matters against Mr. Neville Els, Pretoria Central, CAS 822/10/2017, and Mr. Seth Sons, in brackets, Pretoria Central, CAS 798/10/2017, paragraph 8 ends there.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. So now the decision is made, representations are received on behalf of Mr. Kaji. I want you to speak to your recollection as to once the representations were received by your office, what was then done?
The senior in the office will then, or did then prepare, so after the representations was received, the report was received from the DPP, the copy of the case docket, and then once all the information was received from the DPP, the National Office prepared a comprehensive memorandum with copies of the representations, the report, whatever other relevant documentation, all must go as annexures in the memorandum prepared that time for Advocate de Kock, because he was delegated for the review decision.
And what was Advocate de Kock's position at the time?
He was a Deputy National of Public Prosecutions, and he was delegated to review
Yes.
certain matters.
That is the late Advocate
The
Rodney
late-
de Kock.
Thank you, Commissioner. The late Advocate de Kock.
Yes. Yes, you can proceed.
So the memorandum was prepared by the senior. Then the process is that it will come to me as checking officer, as the coordinator, and then the memo was submitted to Advocate de Kock with all the documents. Advocate de Kock was not satisfied.
Do you recall what was in the memorandum?
I cannot exactly recall, and as I have also indicated, I've not seen the documents.
Yes, okay.
So, Advocate de Kock, what I do know was that he was not satisfied, and he wanted the file to go to the organized crime component, to another senior for a second opinion. The second opinion, when he received that, he endorsed that, and that is then when he stated that the matter, the prosecution must proceed, and letters were then sent to the DPP instructing the enrollment of the matters, and the representors were then also informed of the process.
Yes. So then from the review, a decision was then made that they must proceed with the prosecution of Els and Sons.
Yes.
And were they prosecuted?
What I know that the colleagues from the organized crime did give advice with regard to the presentation of the matter, and if I recall correctly, also witnesses to be consulted, enrolled, consulted and called. But in the Pretoria office, later on, a letter was received from the DPP Pretoria to say that there were challenges, and then why the matter cannot proceed.
Can you recall what those challenges were?
If I recall correctly, I think there were challenges with a witness that was in the United Kingdom, that was unable to testify. I'm not sure if there were unfortunate passing of a witness, but that was then in the report that came from the DPP as to why they were not able to proceed with the matter.
At that time when the decision was made, was there anything that your department was involved, or was there any reason why your department will still be involved to oversee the actual prosecution of these individuals?
Well, it was just once a decision was made, our role, or the role of the representations, was to get the reports from the DPP, to whatever comes in, to then put that in a file, to submit it to Advocate de Kock, and to for him then to advise on the way forward. That is the role that we played. So we were always there as the conduit, or the scribes, yes, doing to make sure that the processes were followed, files were pended, follow-ups were made. That was the role that we still had to play. Yes.
Thank you. I would like to take you to page 460 of the same document at paragraph 44. And I want you, it's a bit of a long paragraph. I would like for you to read it into the record.
460
Yes.
of...
The same document you were on. You just go ahead, just go on to page 460.
This is the statement of Mr. Venemans.
Yes.
Thank you. Let me go to this file.
Hopefully your document is legible.
I didn't get that, Commissioner.
No, I say hopefully your Your document is legible, Ms. Paragraph 44,
44, okay, let me go
page
there.
460, long paragraph.
Do you need help?
Ms. Baiting, you may even wish to read it.
Can I read it?
Yes.
Yes. I'll read it.
Just let the witness get it first.
I have the paragraph.
You have it.
Yes.
I will read it into the record. Now, Commissioner, you're challenging my eyes. Paragraph 44. Letters dated 7 July 2023 were signed by the D and Deputy National Director of Public Prosecutions and addressed to the legal representative of the accused persons, Mr. Kaji and DPP Pretoria, to advise them that since Professor Naik passed away, we hoped that the evidence of Dr. Aesop will enable the state to present sound evidence against the accused. Such evidence would be backed up by circumstantial evidence from other witnesses, that is, detainees on other cases, close bracket, who would also testify about assault and torture that they also experienced while in the hands of the security police at John Foster Square Police Station. Efforts were made to request Dr. Salim Aesop, who is now living in London, Great Britain, to provide a sworn statement on the matter. Unfortunately, Dr. Aesop has confirmed that he will no longer be providing a sworn statement due to his deteriorating health conditions. Dr. Aesop stated that he does not want to be exposed to the rigors of a criminal trial. As a result of the above, the intended prosecution against Mr. Sands will no longer be feasible due to the fact that the state will not be in a position to lead the evidence of key witnesses in this matter. The recent and unfortunate developments have negated a reasonable prospect of a successful prosecution. The DNDPP therefore rescinded his earlier decision dated 15 February 2023. Does that accord with your memory how it happened?
That is correct. Thank you.
In April 2022, you get promoted into a new role. Can you talk to that?
Yes. In April 2022, I was appointed as a Special Director of Public Prosecutions. The designation was General Prosecutions and Tax. So I was promoted in the office where I've done all the work on the representations complaints. By that time, I was also overseeing the tax components. That is correct. And then I was also allocated by Advocate de Kock, the late Advocate de Kock, the role of overseeing and working with Advocate Singh on the TRC matters. At that stage, Advocate Singh was a senior state advocate. She was the coordinator and nodal point for the TRC, but at that stage there were no deputies, deputy directors to assist and work with her. And Advocate de Kock considered it best that that she be supported, and that is when I was then requested to also oversee the with her the TRC matters.
All right. So at the time when you crossed over into the new role, the decision was not yet made in this Els and Sons matter. Did you at any stage, because according to what I've just read into the record, that final decision was communicated in February 2023, and at that time you were now directly involved in the overseeing of the TRC cases in the new department, which was the TRC unit, where you were working with Advocate Singh.
So is is the question as to what was my role in the Els and Sons matter at that
Yes,
stage.
yes.
So I was, I was still, let me just say that this matter that came out of the judgment was not allocated to the TRC component as such. It was dealt with in the in the general stream. So I was, I can't remember, I must have overseen the documents and the letters, and but all the letters were signed by Advocate de Kock. So I must have been the conduit. So that was still my role at that stage.
Yes.
But I can't, unfortunately, speak if I don't see the
Yes.
memorandum.
Yes,
Yes.
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 You were a conduit, but were you also a decision maker, or were you
No.
not a decision maker?
Never. We were, if I can say this, so as with the representations and complaints, the senior will prepare the memo and make a submission. Then for me, it is also to go through it and support or not support. And then it goes to the Deputy National who will make the decision. So we were not decision makers, but we did make submissions. And it did happen over the years. It's that the supervisor or the ultimate decision maker, like Advocate de Kock, was very thorough. He would, he did not always agree with our submissions or with DPP office decisions, and he would overturn it. So we did make submissions, but he was the ultimate decision maker, and that is also why he requested the organized crime to give him a second opinion.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Would you say that there was anything that was could have been done differently for this matter to have been avoided, to have come to your department as a complaint? If somebody has done their work, this matter will not even come to your unit.
So it is always unfortunate if family or aggrieved parties complain about a delay in matters. It is unfortunate, but one must then investigate to see what is the cause of the delay. I don't know, I can't remember offhand what the reason for the delays were. Representations is received because when you are aggrieved with a decision, you are entitled to ask for a review, and that happens often. We had thousands of cases, and that must then go through due diligence and must be reviewed. Unfortunately, when you're aggrieved about the decision, it must be evaluated and then looked at. So I can't say that representation should never come to us or go to the national office because decisions are made and then it's reviewed.
Yes, I think my question
so-
was more on the complaints.
Oh, on the complaint, yeah.
I'm saying that it
Yes,
came to your
yes,
department
yeah,
because
it is
somebody didn't do their job. If
Yes.
they did, it wouldn't have come to your
Exactly.
department.
No, that is true, and
Yes.
it's unfortunate.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. I think you have slightly started on my third topic that I wanted to deal with. You have already introduced, and I think it's common cause from the evidence of advocates seeing that you were absorbed into this department. Can you talk about the milestones from 2021, in principle, the decentralization of these TRC cases and your involvement when you came in 2022, and what would have been your role in that department?
Okay, so so when I became involved, Advocate Singh, if I can say, was really already up and running. She was a very active nodal point, and the decentralization had then already taken place of the matters to the provinces. That was started off in 2021 by Advocate Batoy, then when she gave the instruction. So there were already a process of documents that was referred to the provinces. And then the one big task was to build the capacity in the provinces, to have dedicated advocates to work on the cases. And so when I became involved, I can remember that at that stage we started to work on the building up of the dedicated prosecutions, building the dedication for the prosecutors. So that was one of the issues that we had to look at, was working with the organizational development, it's called, the OD component in our HR, because there's a whole process. So that is something that, that I had to support and assist with.
I just want to ask you, at the time when you get absorbed in this TRC unit, were you working parallel with the PCLU, or what then happened to the PCLU?
No. When Advocate Batoy removed and Advocate Kok, they removed the TRC matters from the PCLU and placed it under...
The what matters, sorry? The what matters? They removed what?
The TRC matters
Okay.
was removed from the PCLU, and it was placed under the guidance of the National Prosecuting Service, the NPS. That is where we worked. You can say the general stream with then certain components. So it was not part of the PCLU anymore when I commenced. And then I can't remember exactly when, but the missing persons task team was also previously resorting under the PCLU. And if I'm correct, Advocate Kok then also or transferred the missing persons task team to co-locate or to work in the NPS, the general component, with the TRC component. So that because there was a lot of working together needed between missing persons and the PCLU, and the TRC component.
All right. And at that time, the decentralization had already taken place,
Yes.
and the cases were now residing with the provinces.
Yes.
And then what was the reporting structure? How did you get then the reports from the provinces?
So in all the provinces, as Advocate Singh did go into the detail in her affidavit, but in all the provinces there were then dedicated advocates, as well as in most of the provinces a deputy director coordinating the TRC provincial component, reporting to the Director of Public Prosecutions. So the reports would come monthly from the Director of Public Prosecutions office, which was mostly compiled by the coordinator in the province. All of that would go to Advocate Singh, and she would then compile a comprehensive monthly report with all the matters, the progress, the challenges, the good lessons to be learned. So that was a very comprehensive report that would be prepared and be submitted to me and via me to Advocate de Kock. But what also happened was we had monthly meetings with the directors of public prosecutions, where I was also then involved because I was a special director, and Advocate Singh as the nodal point was also involved in all the meetings. And Advocate Singh would then present a synopsis of what was happening in the provinces, where are the challenges, and so that everybody in the, all the leadership could see what was happening in all the provinces. So that is how we received the progress on the matters. I can also
Yes.
mention the so-called accountability sessions that Advocate Singh spoke to. The accountability sessions was direct engagement with the provinces, the nodal point, together with the DPCI. That was a very important step, the appointment of the DPCI investigators. The nodal point, which the DPCI had Colonel Nkuna, he was working, he was daily, I think he was more in our office than his own office, working with Advocate Singh. So that, that structure and that working together really brought or gave a lot of impetus to the matters. So the accountability sessions was over and above just checking on a daily basis what's happening. There would be visits to the provinces with the investigators. Everybody had to present their cases, the prosecutor with the investigator. So that was quite intensive, and it was 2-3 days at a time.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. My last question to you is, having listened to your evidence, in comparison, you've spoken about your dismay or your concerns in 2018, where you've seen gaps and you've identified that matters were not being properly handled. And now you are directly involved in 2022 going forward in that department. Would you say that there was an improvement, and what was your observation?
If I may say so, according to me, there was a vast improvement. Just starting from the organization, putting files together, going through a mass of information, not only with the then PCLU, the document center, getting the missing persons task team on board with all their knowledge, their information. So just the organization of getting documents together to have a docket or a case together, not all over the place. That was the one thing. I think the decentralization and the dedicated capacity, that was a milestone. The working together there, the accountability sessions, but the liaison with other stakeholders, building relationships not just with the police, also with archives, with some of the firms of attorneys, other people that had information. Then Advocate de Kock, I actually still think of him. So the late Advocate de Kock, he started the meetings with the stakeholders. He was extremely hands-on. He was a deputy national, but he was so hands-on.
So you confirm that there was a huge improvement?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Is there anything in addition that you would want to say to the commissioners?
I can only say from my observation, and I was part of the NPA, so it is very unfortunate that there had to be this commission, the advocate, can't remember his name, that did the preliminary investigation. That in our history in the country, that families had to go through what they went through in an era in our country, and then it wasn't addressed immediately and speedily, properly. So I only, if I may say, I really only saw the extent of the hardship when I started to work directly on the TRC matters. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but yeah, it's unfortunate, and I hope that the NPA is now on a better road. It is late. It is very late, and I think the one thing that we still, by the time I left, and I think what happened at that stage with Mr. KG is the communication. Although you try and you think that we do communicate properly, maybe it wasn't properly done.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So,
Communication as in report back to the families.
excuse me, Commissioner.
I say communication as in report backs to the
To
families.
the families.
Was lacking, was not
I would-
sufficient.
I would say that the stakeholder mechanism that was put in place and the meetings that were held, and there were families, there were engagements. Commissioner, I'm specifically referring to the matter of Mr. KG. I don't know what went wrong there in sitting and in personally informing him of this is the reason, this is the outcome.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. That is the evidence of Advocate Matzke. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rangaka.
Thank you for your evidence, Advocate Matzke.
Thank you.
Could I just take you to paragraph 15 of your affidavit?
Let me work on this one.
Are you there?
Paragraph 15. Yes.
Okay, in there you say the TRC cases remained with the PCLU because a new appointment, NDPP appointment was awaited.
Yes.
Then when Advocate Batoy was appointed with effect from 1 February 2019, she took charge of the TRC matters.
Yes.
Then you say Advocate C. McAdam, would that be Chris McAdam?
Yes.
dealt with audit of the TRC matters and the subsequent decentralization of the TRC cases to the provinces, as stated in his affidavit
Yes.
and testimony before the Commission. That's still correct.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, was this before or after your time working with Advocate Singh?
No, this was this was before, because I was only appointed in 2022. So, yes, the initial decentralization took place when Advocate McAdam and the PCLU was still working with it. But Advocate de Kock then was appointed as Deputy National, and he said, no, it must move to the NPS. He wants more control. And, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Rangaka.
Chair, I'm told that on MS Teams we have Advocate Gwala SC and Advocate Ntloko.
No. It can't be.
It's
It has to
either
be-
Ms.
it has to be
Mr.
Gwala.
Gwala or Ms.
Or Ms.
Ntloko.
Ntloko.
Okay, noted. I'm told
Yes.
they're both there.
No,
Yes.
shouldn't be.
Shouldn't be. Noted, Commissioner. And we have Advocate Rikotso and Advocate Mtambeleni. Thank you, Chair.
Ms. Moroka, any clarificatory questions?
No clarification questions.
Thank
Chair.
you. Ms. Mtizana, any clarificatory questions? Yes, you may proceed.
But we can't hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. Good morning, Ms. Matske.
Good morning.
Okay. My first question to you is, in your involvement on the TRC cases at the time during your tenure with the NPA.
Can you
Just
raise your
raise your
voice?
voice,
The
Ms.
witness is
Mtizana.
streaming.
Okay, sorry, Chair. I'd like to know if during your time at the NPA, while you were engaging with the TRC matters, who were you working with?
Masaka, no answer.
Please.
So I was mainly working with Advocate Singh. At that stage, she was the only senior state advocate at the national office, and then I was together with her working with the DPP, the DPPs, as in the meetings or in the accountability sessions. We were working with the DPCI. The monthly meeting we had with the DPCI at our offices, I would chair that meeting, but that was then to gauge progress and so on. So I was not personally involved in matters. I was just there to assist, support, if there were challenges, be it whatever, to see how we can address it or assist in addressing it.
Okay, thank you. And then my last question, did you ever engage with Advocate Pretorius any further after learning that he fell ill during 2018?
This is one of my difficulties. I cannot remember. Because I did ask copies of my emails just to check what I did, but I can't remember that I did engage him, because I know that he was very ill at one stage. So
You can't recall.
I can't recall. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Mtaka.
Ms. Mtizana. Ms. Mtizana, any clarificatory questions?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Mtaka.
Ms. Rikhotso.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have any clarification questions.
Thank you, Ms. Rikhotso. Ms. Ntambeleni.
Thank you, Chair. I do have questions for this witness.
Yes, you may proceed.
Good, good morning, Advocate Matske.
Morning.
Just by way of the read of your affidavit at paragraph 7, where you make reference to the email that was sent to you by the personal assistant to Advocate Jiba. If I may, on that point, you mentioned that you did not know of the request that was made, or rather it is stated there that you didn't attend the particular meeting that is in question here, and that you only learned of the pardon me, I think my network is poor this side. And if maybe I may take it from where I left it. You mentioned that as according to what you know, you were only informed of the request that was made to you by Advocate Chiba on the particular meeting that you were not in attendance of by way of this email. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. So on that score, it is further your evidence, as according to paragraph 8 then of your affidavit, that having been copied into that email, you followed up or endeavored to secure an appointment with Advocate Jiba in order for you to understand what the request itself entailed, and that the particular meeting never materialized. What steps, if any, between the 22nd, after you have sent that email, and the 24th, which was the deadline for that requirement to be fulfilled, did you take in order to try and get the clarity that you were seeking from Advocate Jiwa?
I couldn't communicate any more with Advocate Jiba than than send their WhatsApp. I cannot remember what else I tried because I do not have access to my emails or my laptop or my documents at the MPA. So I do know, and this is why I did go up to the PCLU, that if your name is mentioned and you are given a task, that you must just start working and try to do what you can. But unfortunately, I can't remember anything more, and the last was my WhatsApp to Advocate Jiba, and then what I can also not remember is who came then to our office, who was acting, and there was then also this time in
Yes,
between.
really,
Thank you.
the answer lies at paragraph 36.
Thank you.
That was read. It says the witness was saying Ms. Jiba was suspended, and then what the witness knows is that here I saw a message that was written to me by Advocate Trish Maske, and that part was read into the record. Is that not the answer?
And may I add to that also what the witness has stated in paragraphs 13?
So that does not require clarification.
Thank you, Commissioner Komo. Maybe having considered what has already been read into the record, and for me to have a clear and further understanding of what is at play over and beyond what has already been stated, I just want to purely find out, because from what we have, the witness states that she wrote immediately to Advocate Jiba on the 22nd, and the deadline of the request was the 24th. And Advocate Jiba was only suspended on the 25th. And as I would have it, if I had heard clearly on the evidence that she has placed before record, she sent a WhatsApp to Advocate Jiba on the 25th. I'm not certain as to was it before she learned of her suspension, or was it after she learned of the suspension, of which at that time we are not certain
Okay,
exactly.
sorry, it's okay. If you follow Advocate Maske, respond to the question that was.
In other
Thank
words,
you,
when
Commissioner.
did you send the WhatsApp to Advocate Jiba? Before or after she was suspended? I believe you've already said that you sent it after she was suspended.
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner, that's what the witness has already put on record. It was after Advocate Jiva had left.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
Advocate
you for that
Matske,
clarity.
you confirm that.
This is,
That's your evidence.
yes, this is what I gathered from the WhatsApp.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Ms.
Thank you.
Nkambeleni?
Thank you, Chair. And having had that answer now, after you received no response, I believe at that stage, did you get any response from Advocate Jiba? Because you did mention that you tried to have coffee with her, as your WhatsApp stated. Did you get any response that would have led you to know that over and above Advocate Jiba now being suspended, how then do you go forward with that particular request that was made?
Excuse me, can you just repeat the last part of your question?
Or maybe let me just paraphrase it a little bit there. Was there any way in which you tried on your side to communicate your request by Advocate Jiba to any NPA personnel in the hierarchy that would be at the level of Advocate Jiba, having learned of her suspension?
That is what I can't remember, and I cannot remember what I did because I have nothing to refresh my memory on that.
And this is apart
Thank you on
from,
that.
you've dealt with this in paragraphs 13 and 14 of your affidavit.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. That will be all the questions from my side.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Nkambeleni. Mr. Kwala?
Good morning, Commissioners. We do not have clarification questions for this witness. Those instructing us are not available today. We do not know if we would be instructed to do cross-examination. If that is the case, we kindly request that we be allowed to indicate to the Commission, say by Wednesday next week, if we need to make an application for cross-examination.
Can it be earlier than Wednesday next week, Mr. Kwala? This is a time-barred commission, and Wednesday is too far. We are already on Wednesday this week, and having to give you Wednesday next week is just too far.
I accept that, Commissioner.
Yes, I mean, are you able to give an indication by at least this Friday with regard to whether there will be an application for cross-examination or not?
We will do our
Advocate
best.
Yes, Advocate Matske's evidence is short.
Yes, we will do our best, Chairperson. The problem, I'm not giving you, I'm not saying yes, we will. It's because they are not available today and tomorrow. So we'll be able to speak with them on Friday. So hopefully by the end of the day, Friday, we will be able to give that indication.
Thank you. That will be highly appreciated. Mr. Vani?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chairperson. We do have a few follow-up questions by way of clarification. Mrs. Matska, thanks for taking the time to be with us today. I should disclose to the Chair that we have been in one or two meetings, and we always found that your involvement and inputs were cooperative and helpful. When you've prepared yourself for today and also to prepare your statement, I understand you did try to retrieve some documents and some emails. Did you approach the NPA directly, or did you work through the evidence leaders?
I had a consultation with the evidence leaders, and then I did approach the NPA. I sent emails, I WhatsApped, and then I have now also escalated to the evidence leader, and yes, so I did try to get. I contacted the PA to try and trace my laptop, but unfortunately that was in April this year, so I've not received any feedback, and I consulted with the evidence leaders, and I thought I should just come and speak of what I know and have and not delay. But the evidence leader indicated that they will further assist.
Thank you. Yes, I think that does make sense. Now, if the evidence leaders and the NPA are able to uncover those documents, would you be still willing to give us your views on those documents, perhaps on affidavit?
Yes, I will. Is it with regard to the list and the schedule and all of
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. Myself would like to see what I had there.
Thank you. If I can turn to paragraph 9 of your statement. Here you mentioned that the PCLU was a separate unit from the representations and complaints component where you worked. Up until that time, you had not dealt with TRC matters. But following the request from Advocate Jiba, you say that on or about 23 October 2018, you went to the PCLU offices to discuss a list of the TRC cases. You met with Advocate Bukar, and you mentioned that she was a member of the PCLU. Was that the only person you spoke to at the PCLU at that time?
Yes, she was the only person that was there, as far as I can remember. So I have a recollection of speaking to two other colleagues, but I'm not sure about that, and I didn't want to put it in my affidavit. With Advocate Bukau, I know I went up, and she then, when I spoke to her later on, so I spoke to her also before I received some documents from her to refresh my memory. But at that stage, I can't remember. Mostly we would communicate on email to say, are you in, can I please come up, so. So I can't remember if I did. I'm very sorry.
No, it's okay. It's several years ago. You can't be expected to remember all detail. At paragraph 11, you indicate that I think this was during one of your visits. It appeared that there were not only various lists kept by the respective advocates involved in the TRC matters, but that the numerous case files, stroke documents, were stored in various PCLU offices, as well as the NPA Document Centre. I was also informed that a proper audit of all the matters was required, and it was not only to simply compile a list of the matters. When you were saying you were informed, would I be right in saying that that was Advocate Bakar who informed you? And while we're on the question of the audit, I think you mentioned in your evidence in chief when discussing this paragraph that various cupboards were opened up, but you did not see a proper system. Can you just briefly indicate to the Commission what a proper system would have been in your view?
A proper system is that your cases are referenced in a file with a reference number, with all the documents therein, and that you have an electronic or support system, a list of your cases with progress. So for me, a proper system like we had in the representations is cupboards or cabinet files, with your documents. That is just my opinion. You must be organized. It's very, it must be organized, your documents must be together. You must have a proper docket, or at least a file with copies. And everything must be in one place. That is for me a system.
Was there any register or index? Was there any register or index for the files?
I didn't see any register or index, Commissioner.
Okay. So at that time, just from that cursory look, would it be true to say that it appeared to be quite haphazard in terms of at least the filing?
Well, that is what I also gathered, if I may say so.
And if we can then turn to your paragraph 13, and this is where you describe the fact that you only received a few documents and case files in 2 matters from Advocate Bakar. You might have received a few other summaries. You then confirmed that on 25 October 2028, this is when you sent the WhatsApp message to Advocate Jiba asking to meet. As I understand the request, you had suggested that that you and Advocate Jiba meet for coffee to discuss the matters. Did you suggest coffee because you preferred to chat in private and have a discreet chat with her?
No, sir. Commissioner, no. It was because she wasn't there anymore. I was stressed. I needed, and I would never ever have asked her for coffee if she was still in our office. I would have had met her in a meeting, and she would have explained. So that was not a private issue. It was, if I read that, when I read that, I didn't even remember that I wrote that WhatsApp. To me, it tells me this is the desperate, stressed advocate, prosecutor trying to get direction to do the work I was supposed to do. So it's not about private and not in the open.
Thank you. So, in your evidence in chief, you described why you stated that you were concerned that the NPA had failed dismally in respect of the TRC cases. And I took some notes which I hope I captured your evidence correctly. You said when you start with the schedule, cases were handed over to the NPA from the TRC many years previously, with little progress made. That was essentially the lack of outcome is what caused you to reach that conclusion. So just on that score in terms of the lack of delivery, by that time, this is I suppose around 2018, had you been aware of the previous history of the TRC cases, such as the struggles to get investigators in the 2000s?
I was 2000 I was never part of the PCLU, and to know what were the issues they had or what was the challenges, I can't say that I'm just trying to think what might have been out there, but even if there were challenges with investigators, Advocate Batoy and Advocate de Kock turned it around, going to the DPCI, have meetings, get dedicated capacity. They proved that they did it. So I don't know the details of the struggles of the PCLU and in the TRC matters.
Yes, okay, yes, and of course that was post 2018 as opposed to what took place years previously.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So you mentioned that you're still waiting for the schedule. You mentioned in the WhatsApp you started a schedule, but you haven't been able to retrieve that. In paragraph 15, you mentioned that Advocate McAdam dealt with the audit of the TRC matters, and you haven't been able to uncover that audit either. Is that correct?
No. The audit, I just read in his affidavit that he did an audit and that the subsequent decentralization took place. So I wasn't then involved in, so I think I must have read it in his affidavit.
Okay.
I hope I didn't make a mistake.
Now, when you returned to the TRC cases, which I understand was in April 2022, when Advocate Batoy asked you to oversee the work of the TRC component.
Not oversee, I believe it was assist.
Assist,
Assist.
yes.
And it was Advocate de Kock.
It was
The
Advocate
late
de Kock,
Advocate
okay.
de Kock,
All right.
yeah. Yeah. By that time, it was already in the NPS because he had pulled it over with Advocate de Kock when he was appointed.
Right. So this work in assisting the TRC component, did it become your full-time job or just one of your several jobs?
Advocate Vani, I unfortunately had the representations and complaints. I oversaw the tax components in the provinces. I was also the liaison, excuse me, commissioners, not looking at you. I was also the liaison with the directors of public prosecutions, organizing or coordinating the meetings. So yes, this was one of my portfolios. But according to me, we had a very, very competent nodal point with Advocate Singh and also with the DPCI.
So if you just had to give a rough estimate of the percentage of your time that you were able to devote to the TRC component, what would it be?
No, I did, Advocate Singh's office was not far from my office. We both came in very early in the mornings, very early. She was there like 6 o'clock in the morning. When I came in by 7 o'clock.
Can you give a percentage?
I can't give a percent. I just want to explain that I can't give a percent, but I do know that I did work with her. When she was in the office, I saw her almost every day. I cannot say to you what my percentage of work was, but I did try to balance my work between the TRC and all the other portfolios that I had. But I cannot give you a percentage.
That's okay. I'd like to read you an account that comes from the Insebeza report. I'm assuming you're familiar with the Insebeza report.
Yes.
Because in the Insebeza report, it's mentioned that you and Advocate Singh were responsible for, and I'll read it to you, and you can just indicate whether you agree with this summing up or not. It's just a few lines.
Yes, after you have given where this is to be found in the documentation.
Yeah, my team will assist in coming up. It's actually in the Betoy bundle. That's bundle 15. I have a reference of SB 00334. But I'll just read it slowly.
I just registered, Chair, that we do not have the particular documents that have been referred to.
Yes. Let him read that report and get the witness to comment.
Thank you, Chair. So Advocate Insebeza writes in his report, we are informed that the role of Special Director Matska and Advocate Singh is one of supervision, coordination, sharing of information amongst the dedicated prosecutors, and carrying out necessary interventions where similar challenges or procedural hurdles arise. We are of the view that this is critical to ensuring a uniform approach to the TRC prosecutions, an approach which should be guided by an agreed understanding of questions of law that may frequently arise. This includes, for example, questions of delayed prosecutions, payment of legal costs, presumption of death for missing victims, or victims whose remains were destroyed, the probative value of evidence secured on affidavit where the witnesses are now deceased, and the admissibility of testimony given before the TRC. Would that description roughly accord with your assessment of your role and the role of the component?
I did listen to you talking, so I don't want to. I know that I did work quite a lot with Advocate Singh on the TRC matters. So I'm not, I don't, and I know that Advocate Nzebeza had, I couldn't remember his name previously, he did have consultations with us. So this is the work that we did. Advocate missing was the hands-on nodal person, but I did also assist, support. I wasn't just sitting behind my desk, and I was actively assisting her. So I'm not sure if that is what is written there.
Yes, so the impression one gets is that it's a very supportive role,
Yes.
with the help of legal advice perhaps. But you exercise no, excuse me. You exercise no powers in terms of making decisions on prosecutions and the like.
No, that was, the matters were decentralized, so decisions on is made by the DPP because it was decentralized. That is, I couldn't make a decision on prosecution. That wasn't part of mine at the national office. You can't make those decisions. We didn't. Previously, on the TRC matters or the PCLU, maybe that was the case because it wasn't decentralized, but it was properly and duly decentralized for a DPP in a province to make a decision and for the national office to review and support where need be. Yes.
Thank you. On the supportive role and on the question of legal advice, do you recall ever getting an opinion in the Craddock format dealing with the admissibility of TRC evidence?
I'm going to say no. I can't, I'm very left brain. If I don't read something, I can't just respond. So I can't recall.
It's okay. If you can't recall, that's fine.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now, prior to the decentralization and the creation of this TRC component, which was created in September 2021, were you aware of attempts by the Foundation for Human Rights to persuade the NPA and the state more generally to create a dedicated investigation and prosecution unit, perhaps under a full-time special director, just as you have for commercial crimes and sexual offences?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Was there a documentation on that?
Yes, there were several documents on that. Yeah.
Yes. It rings a bell, but I can't.
Sorry, Chair, I'm sorry to interject. I think it would be fair for this witness to be provided with documents that she needs to express her view on. I think it's a bit unfair to be referring to documents that she has not signed off at this stage.
Well, at this stage, she is being asked if she is aware of such a document or not. And I think it's a fair question.
And
Are you aware of such a document?
Chairperson,
If you are aware of it, yes. If not, no.
Chair, can I also interrupt? The inquiry is for all of us, not just for Ms. Matske. So if there's references that we haven't been given time to peruse, we don't know whether to object, we don't know whether to agree with the proposition, and sometimes Mr. Vandi does make propositions that are incorrect. So I support my learned friend as the leader of evidence that it's not fair for all of us. It's not fair
Yes.
for Mr. Gwala, and I'm not speaking on behalf of Mr. Gwala, but it really isn't fair.
Yes. Ms. Maske, are you aware of such a document?
May I say that I need to, before I can answer properly, now I can't offhand say, but it's possible. But I need to see and to then refresh my memory.
So you're not aware?
I'm not aware. Let me say
It
that.
rings a bell in Afrikaans. Je hoort die klokkie lê, maar jy weet nie waar die klokkie hang nie.
Thank you, Commissioner. Dankie.
So, Chairperson, the question isn't based on a particular document. It's just that the proposal for a special investigation, such as an investigating directorate or a special unit under a special director, was proposed, but ultimately not accepted.
Yes.
And I just want to know from the witness whether she thinks that if it had been accepted, that might have produced greater results.
But is it a clarificatory question, Mr. Van?
Well, we're just seeking her opinion, given that this is a
Yes.
fact-finding
I
commission.
will overrule it as not being clarificatory.
Okay, as the commission pleases.
In any event, the witness has answered that she's not aware.
Noted. If we can turn to your evidence on the Timol matter. And I should disclose that at that time I did represent Mr. Kaji and the Timol family during the reopened inquest in 2017, and then also in the attempts to have certain individuals identified by the inquest court investigated further. And I just want to get your view on the periods involved. The inquest judgment was handed down in 2017, and it took the acting NDPP in the Gauteng Division, Pretoria, about 30 months, or 1.5 years, to decide not to charge the individuals. And then you confirmed that it was taken on review, and it looks like it took a few more years for that review to be resolved. And eventually on 15 February 2023, it's mentioned that that review overturned the decision not to prosecute, but by then, as you mentioned, witnesses had died or become unwell, so it couldn't be taken further. So that was a 6-year period. What's your view on the length of time it took to resolve that issue?
I just want, if I may, Chairperson, and
If you
Raise
can
your
speak
voice.
louder, Advocate Matske.
I just want to just make sure about the dates. The representations were received in June 2020. 2020. The report, the final report, was received in October 2020. 2020. The initial review memo was submitted to the late Advocate de Kock in October 2020. I just need to refresh my memory here. Good. That was October. Then the second opinion was received in February 2021. February 2021. Advocate de Kock then dealt with the matter. February, March, April. Then letters were continuously sent to Weber Wenzel. I'm just going through the document, the affidavit of Mr. Venemans, as in paragraph 17, because then the suspects had to be engaged and their representations had to be taken. So that was in July 2021. So due process had to be followed.
Perhaps just to save time, I'm only asking, the entire period was approximately 6 years. Is that normal for it to take that long?
I'm not I just wanted to, the date of the final decision of the late Advocate de Kock.
February of 2023.
2020.
Although, given the developments, then he then rescinded that, but that was at a later stage.
So that's 3 years.
No, but I'm talking from the judgment of the inquest court in October 2017.
Oh, the 6 year. Oh, I was looking at the representations and the. So it did. When the case docket was opened, there was investigations that had to be done, and then I don't know what happened then because that was done at the DPP office. So if you recount all of that and what happened there, if that is that 6 years, 2017. So there are processes that was followed. Case docket open, investigations. I don't know what the challenges were there. Then it was with the DPP office. But I can say from the account from the time that it was received at the national office, and because of all of what happened there, in a case like this, it is. It's not. I won't say. We didn't deliberately try to delay a decision, but there are processes that you need to follow.
Was that long, Advocate Matske? Was that a long time or not?
It is a long time,
Yes.
Chairperson, yes. But this representations in the normal course, except if it's really not a complicated case, it won't take long. But in matters where it's involved expert evidence, you have to, and where you have to also engage the accused, they were policemen, they also had counsel.
Just assist the witness. I think the witness had already under evidence said that she agrees that the matter came to the complaints component which she is sitting because there was a delay. I think she conceded that there was some delay, hence there was the initial complaint from Mr. Kaji.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perhaps we can move on. You spoke in your evidence in chief about the role that Junior Advocate Singh played in building decentralization, and you gave the example of liaising, assisting in organizational development with human resources. What is that, and how would it help in building decentralization?
Before any new posts can be created in government, there must be, if I can call it I don't think it's a feasibility study, but organizational development must be involved. They must look at a province, what is the capacity there, what do we need new capacity for, what is the extent of the matters to be looked at. So that is the why organizational development need to be involved. And that is a process, unfortunately. Because in most provinces, though, what I can remember commissioners, is that most of the DPP directors of public prosecutions, when the request was made, they did give dedicated capacity, but they borrowed from other components. Everybody tried to get colleagues together with the police, to have a dedicated capacity and to take work away from colleagues, but that left a gap in other components. But because Advocate Patoy and Advocate de Kock was adamant that TRC should be a focus area, they had to borrow from others, and then you had to have the other process to create more capacity, and then to advertise the posts, and to then fill the posts and have enough people in the regions to work on the cases. So that is what it involved.
And I think somewhere in the evidence it's mentioned that the question of legal costs was an issue. Or at least that's in the Nsebeza report. It was one of the issues that the component had to address.
If I remember correctly, was it not the issue of the legal costs for the suspects or police, the accused? I think
that's correct.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And do you recall that issue cropping up?
It did in some of the cases. It did. I think that is also what delayed some matters from time to time, when the police didn't want to fund suspects or accused. That is I think that was the issue of the legal costs.
Yes.
But I won't say that I worked directly with that, but I know that it was there. It was a challenge.
If you didn't work directly on it, I won't pose the question to you. You mentioned that the head of the National Prosecution Service, Rodney de Kock, that he was very hands-on with the TRC cases. Given that he was head of the entire National Prosecution Service, which is, I suppose, one could argue, the most important job in the entire NPA, and given that there was no full-time special director, didn't that pose challenges? Because it wasn't possible for Rodney de Kock to engage with every TRC case, given his very wide responsibilities.
No, if I say he was hands on, he didn't. He would. How can I put it? Yes, he was a deputy national, but he worked very hard, and he was. If there was a question about a case or a complaint, or he wanted to know something, he would. If I say hands on, he would go to the senior and say, "What's happening here?" And he was very adamant with regard to the portfolio presentations that he would do that. Everything had to be prepared. He had to do a dry run. He had to do it, the meetings with the stakeholders. So that is what I meant with hands-on. He had a lot of energy.
Yes, and may his soul rest in peace.
Yes.
You were asked about whether there had been improvements since the creation of the TRC component, and you mentioned some improvements, such as getting all the documents together, looking at the decentralized capacity, which you called a milestone, developing of relationships with police and attorneys, and so on. But would you agree that, notwithstanding all this good work, it hasn't resulted in substantial delivery?
I know that I cannot, I must confess in my last year that I was out of the NPA. I have not followed anything in the news. So I don't know what happened after I left. But I think in the time that I was there, and the building up and the work that had to be done, and Advocate Vani, excuse me, Commissioners, I think there were some inquests. I think within what we had, that good work was done. But was it enough? It was late.
It's okay. You don't have to pursue for that further. So you have indicated that, at least in 2018, you mentioned that the NPA had failed dismally in relation to the TRC cases. And unfortunately, as we sit here today, we don't have much to show for ourselves. So who should take responsibility for the failure to deliver in these cases?
Only the NPA can take responsibility. But I'm not there anymore. Not that I was a miracle maker. I'm not there anymore, but I know, what I do know from my working with Advocate Singh, I don't know, I think there's more capacity now, but even in the regions with the colleagues, and even with the DPCI, the will is there, and I don't know why it's not providing results if that is the way that it is. But I have not interrogated that, and I want to assist the Commission, but I cannot speak about what is happening now because I'm not there anymore. And we did try, and I think as prosecutors and DPPs, I've been in some of those meetings with the DPPs and the prosecutors and the investigators. It was a difficult task to pick up. In some cases, I think they almost had to start from scratch after all the years and try to put things together.
And you say the NPA must take responsibility?
For our part, if the NPA didn't do what they were supposed to do.
You don't have to elaborate. You don't have to elaborate.
Thank you.
No further questions, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Vani. And Ms. Rangata? Any re-examination?
No, Chair, thank you.
Yes. Advocate Matske, we thank you for having come to give evidence before this commission. As you have heard, there might be an application for you to be cross-examined, in which event you will be expected to return to this commission for your cross-examination. But for now, you are excused as a witness.
Thank you.
These proceedings are adjourned until tomorrow at 10 o'clock.